Imagine a factory that proudly reports it has produced millions of nails. Workers celebrate. Managers send glowing reports to the government. Production targets are exceeded. The factory appears to be a massive success. But when people finally look at the nails, something is terribly wrong. Some of the nails are so tiny they are almost useless, too small to hold even a piece of paper. Others are gigantic chunks of metal, heavy and impractical, the size of a hammer. None of them are actually useful for building anything. Yet on paper, the factory has achieved record-breaking productivity. This sounds absurd. But it really happened inside one of the most powerful economies in history, the Soviet Union. How did a superpower with massive resources, brilliant engineers, and millions of workers end up producing mountains of useless nails? To understand this strange story, we must look deeper into how the Soviet economic system worked and why the rules that were supposed to create efficiency ended up creating one of the most famous failures of central planning. After the Russian Revolution of 1917, the Soviet Union created a new economic system called central planning. The government controlled factories, farms, and industries instead of private companies. An organization called Gosplan planned the entire economy. Officials decided how much steel, coal, machinery, and other goods the country should produce. Factories received strict production targets. Meeting those targets meant rewards and promotions. Failing them could lead to punishment. Because of this, factory managers focused on one thing above all else: hitting the numbers. In many cases, factories were judged by simple metrics like total weight or number of items produced. For example, a nail factory might be ordered to produce a certain number of tons of nails. To meet this quota quickly, managers realized they could simply make very large, heavy nails. These nails added weight faster and helped the factory reach its target. The nails were often impractical, but the quota was fulfilled. From the perspective of the system, the factory had succeeded. When planners noticed the oversized nails, they tried to fix the problem. Instead of measuring production by weight, they changed the target to the number of nails produced. But this created a new problem. To increase the number of nails, factories began producing extremely small nails, tiny nails that bent easily and were difficult to use. Once again, the factories met their targets, but the products were still useless. This wasn't caused by lazy workers or bad engineers. The real issue was the incentive system. Managers were rewarded for meeting quotas, not for making useful products. So naturally, they optimized their production to satisfy the numbers. Central planners tried to control an enormous economy using simple statistics, but real-world products are far more complex than numbers on a report. The nail problem was only one example of a wider pattern in the Soviet economy. Shoe factories sometimes produced only one size to simplify quotas. Clothing factories made large quantities of unattractive garments because design and comfort were not measured. Steel plants focused on heavy materials because production was counted in tons. Again and again, factories optimized for numbers rather than real usefulness. Despite these distortions, the Soviet Union grew rapidly in its early decades. Massive industrial projects turned the country into a global power. The USSR built huge factories, developed advanced weapons, and even launched the first satellite into space. But behind the impressive numbers, inefficiencies were slowly building. By the 1970s and 1980s, these problems became more visible. Stores often faced shortages of basic goods, and people waited in long lines for everyday items. At the same time, warehouses sometimes held large quantities of products that few people wanted. The system could produce a lot, but not always what people needed. Economists later described this as an information problem. In market economies, prices and consumer demand guide production. But in the Soviet system, planners had to predict the needs of millions of people without strong market signals. That made accurate planning extremely difficult. Soviet leaders eventually recognized these weaknesses. Some reforms tried to give factories more flexibility and introduce limited market mechanisms. But many officials resisted these changes because they threatened the centralized system of control. By the late 1980s, the economy was struggling. Growth slowed, productivity declined, and shortages became more common. Reforms under Mikhail Gorbachev attempted to restructure the system, but they also exposed its fragility. In 1991, the Soviet Union collapsed. Today, the story of the useless nails illustrates a powerful principle. When people are rewarded for hitting specific metrics, they often focus on the metric itself rather than the real goal. Once a measurement becomes a target, it can stop reflecting true success. This pattern still appears in modern organizations. Sales teams may chase quotas instead of customer satisfaction. Schools may focus on test scores instead of deeper learning. Incentives shape behavior, sometimes in unexpected ways. The Soviet nail factories revealed an important truth about systems. When incentives reward the wrong outcomes, even skilled and hard-working people can produce inefficient results. The failure was not the workers, it was the design of the system. 3 key lessons emerge from this story. First, incentives strongly influence behavior. Second, complex economies need constant feedback. Third, metrics should guide decisions but never replace judgment. The story of useless Soviet nails may sound amusing, but it carries a serious warning. Whenever systems focus only on numbers, they risk drifting away from real outcomes. And when that happens, people may still end up producing millions of perfectly counted but completely useless nails.